her husband as soon as she is physically mature. Although before poverty she has been visiting his compound under the supervision of a senior wife. She brings food to her future husband, receives it in return, and begins to cultivate farms near the compound. Some girls undergo a ritual seclusion period of 7 or 9 weeks before they marry. In pidgin English, this is called fattening. Girls are put in the fattening house who are ailing or who do not become nubile. At the same time, they are not developing poverty fast. Now, this is a little explanation for you to understand. When at puberty, the girl is getting ready to go to the husband, there's a process of fattening and beautifying the girl. Our tradition in Lebialem, like the most Bamileke area, puts a lot of emphasis on a healthy woman. We don't believe in slim, smallish women. Because if she is fat enough, you know she can get multiple births. And then you will have many children. The vision is to say that if she is fat, she can have many children at once. And then the vision of your beauty is not like unlike the Europeans who think of slim women, maybe young people today. The tradition is to say that the woman who is living well, she has some flesh to show for it. The ceremony is, and then while she is there, the senior wife, polygamy was a common practice here. And when the young woman came, she had her maid in the compound in the palace, and the elderly woman became her own protector and guide. When it is she who determined whether she was blind enough to meet the man, and in which case she will be the one to arrange when to send her to go and meet the husband. That you are already a mature woman. Some of the young women got very scared, and then the elderly wife will advise them what to do, how to manage the men, because the process was not easy. The marriage ceremony, therefore, were elaborate. Festive at first. Today, they have been drastically curtailed to a simple blessing of marriage paid by an elder. Most husbands are unwilling to sponsor this ceremony since the expenses are high and the chances of recovering the outlay if the girl divorces him are very slim. Yeah, these times are affecting these traditional practices. There is a polygamy at varying degrees depending on educational and religious background. About how the households consist of a man with 2 or more wives. A paramount chief they have up to 50. At the present time, a sub-chief up to 20. A man's widows are inherited by his successor, although some are handed to unmarried sons. Older widows leave their husband's compound to settle down with married daughters or sons. Do we need to talk about that again? No. You people know very well what we're talking about. Marriages in Bangwa are legalized by the finalizing of marriage payments and the transfer of a certain sort, the marriage sort, to the bride's king. These payments are very high and are going up all the time. They vary, but at one time there was an effort to regulate it. And they said that the bride price was 90,000 francs. The chiefs and the elders met and took that decision. So now, but nobody seems to respect it these days. A large selection of relatives receive a shameful brothers and whatever at Nadia. I think all of that as to how the marriage is performed and the various relatives who are concerned. Mbetitsa, who is the middle father, that is the grandfather, the maternal grandfather. When they marry a daughter, it goes through the mother's side. The maternal grandfather and the maternal great-grandfather, Beckham chief, are those who are there. Then there was a takap, which history over the years has been abolished. But for the purpose of record, it's good to have this. Illness and death. Okay, takap, I may explain briefly. The takap was actually a father who traced himself
to the man who bought the slave from the Bamileke area. And then after that slave came, or one connection was there, the person, everybody had a Dakar who came in. He was not a blood relative. Sometimes they themselves married women whom they were taking bride price for. So this is why with education and changing times, they have to be abolished. It no longer exists. Illness and death. The Bama ascribed natural and unnatural causes to death. They can recite lists of symptoms for various fatal as well as non-fatal illnesses, which are diagnosed with skill. Witchcraft is a common cause. When we grew up, they said everybody had his witchcraft. Only that you were not using it then. When they start using your own, that will work, they can affect you. You had some snake in your belly, all the parts of the body inside the belly were identified to mean something. The lungs were considered to be the tiger. The tiger. And the liver had its own name, elephant. The liver is the elephant. And then there's some other thing that is called the snake, I don't know what. So, the brain.
Right in the spinal cord.
So, all of this affects witchcraft is a common cause. But once the confession is made, of course, when you were ill, you were expected to confess. If a woman was dying, and she swore that she had tried to swallow her baby in witchcraft, then they will start treating you. If you did not say that you were sick because you went to witchcraft, they will not treat you. And you may be left to die because you have refused to confess. And then when they treat you and you get well, everybody in the village will be pointing fingers at you. That's witch.
Maybe I think they are lying. Even right now, and the patients are lying in the hospital. All attention is not focused on the medical team. There are other missions that are being carried. Even right now.
Yeah, the practice is still on now.
The practice.
Yeah. When they come to the hospital here, it is not just scientific medicine.
No.
They also find out whether they go to a soothsayer to see whether that man lying there has not gone to witchcraft. And that if he has gone to witchcraft, scientific medicine cannot cure him. He must come home and accept, confess, then tradition will cure him.
When you are so sick, someone will still come and ask you, will you say something? You are not
so you cannot die like this.
Even right now, as I'm talking, they should be asking them in the hospital, do you have anything to confide to me? So why is it?
When you are sick, it means it's your fault.
You look for it.
They say
somebody wants to take you away, you are looking for it. Then you should say where you went last night or last year. Whether the coffee there is in your compound, or whether that coffee you don't want to carry it before they see that you. It's like I say something before you go.
And then they often say, as you are ill like this, your hand is inside.
Yes.
When the expression your hand is inside means that absolute, you know you have put your hand somewhere where you should not put, and it has affected your hand.
Yes.
So thus madness is just from a man transforming himself into a bush cow, falling into a coping or a trap, and they need pit. But it goes into psychotherapy, coping, and shock treatment. There are many specialists, bone menders, experts in the treatment of rheumatism, children's and women's complaints, as barrenness and impotence. The general term, Ngagafu, which is a lead man, is given to these practitioners. Other experts specialize in the exorcism of spirits, especially those bedeviling children. Others from complicated purification rituals after evil death, suicide, murder, and accident, death in pregnancy, death from dropsy and elephantiasis. So, others hunt the invisible witch who is hunting a compound, bringing bad luck and illness. Gamchep has the secret of the medicine which punishes the children of a man who is backward in his bride world payment. If you do not complete the bride price of your wife, they go and corner the check and put it somewhere in the medicine. If you do not complete the bride price, that check will catch the children that the woman will have. And unless you come and complete the bride price, those children will never be wed. That's the belief. They may even die before that check will catch them. So you don't owe bride price food for too long. Or if they give the bride price and some important people they don't have their share, they can also go and tie the check, and the check will catch the offspring of the marriage. So that goes on. Black magic is not common here. But yeah, that is one thing. In the Lebialem, the traditions of the Wabawas, black magic is not known. It has to do with either witchcraft, influence of spirits, but real black magic of transforming things doesn't exist in their psychology and tradition. Well, witchcraft that has available since it may be used for good or evil purposes. Bama believes has many manifestations. I think we can go over that. Since most deaths are ascribed to witchcraft, post-mortem examinations were regularly carried out. And corpses of tiny babies and sterile men. Beliefs in the afterworld are complex. Dead men's souls go to Bama heaven or hell. The good country and the bad country, both of which were below the ground. The sky is the abode of witches, not angels. In fact, we determine Bama gold from a certain Christian of faith. Those are the dead returned from their graves to haunt members of their family. They are exercised by a simple purification ritual. Now, I want to explain that when Christianity came here, there was a contradiction. And one person who brought out this contradiction in cultural beliefs was the late founder of Nkemngu.It. When he came out to give a public prayer, he always said, he called on the ancestors and said, when we grew up and came, they told us that God and heaven are in the ground. Today, some other people have come and said, God, you are up in the sky. The one in the ground I've never seen. The one in the sky I've never seen. If you are in the ground, hear this prayer. If you are in the sky, hear this prayer. And so he would give his prayer like that, and that's how he compromised and reconciled the teachings of Christianity with the tradition. So he gave that prayer that way, and that will show you the conflict in the belief. Okay, family organization. Subsistence family is organized mainly by women. Each will have a dozen or more farms given over principally to cocoyam with beans, maize, cassava, sweet potatoes, and granules as subsidiary crops. Clearing is done by the women themselves, usually in groups called adet. You know that. Clearing is done that way. Sometimes very heavy bush is cleared with the help of an adolescent son or an obliging son-in-law. If you have a young boy who is a strong young man, he will come and help you clear your farm if it is a hard forest. Four wives usually farm together, but subsidiary farms on land back from the diverse schemes will be widely separated. Only farms near the compound are fenced. Further afield, they farm on stretch of land with their babies on their backs. They tie the babies on their backs and do their farming. Sometimes they get babysitters, but school has come and upset the whole system. In those days, we used to take care of babies while our mothers went to the farm. Sometimes they go to the farm. If you don't have a babysitter, you put the baby in a small bag and keep aside while you are doing your farm work. Is there anything else? Pardon? Diverse, that's to say varied, the kith and kin. That is relatives. That kin means relatives. Is there anything on where are we now? The most obvious differences, perhaps, is between the sexes. Men and women cooperate really in daily life. We very much operate like Muslims. Until the advent of this Christian civilization, men had their own thing always together, and women apart. Even when they went to the meeting or to the cradai, the women carried food and drink, and they were following their husbands behind. And the husband will have his walking stick and be going ahead. And then you not fall down and break the calabash of wine. My father will turn and hit you with his walking stick first, and you were looking up in the sky when you put your friend like that. So that is how it worked. And everybody knew their role. I think we can. This is just an exchange about things that you know.
Yes, we are going to the conclusion. Thus, the farmer may be said to trace descent through male and female lines. We were just saying there before we go that you know that our descent in our tradition, the male and female line. But very often, in marriage practice, it is the line of the woman that is followed. But in general relationship, it is the male, because we have a patrilineal system of succession. Nobody can imagine that if the father died, if your father died, a woman cannot become successor or lay claim to family property. It must only be the male. It may be that, pardon? Pardon? Yes, sometimes the first one is not even expected to be the successor, because they think that he has a role of taking care of the other's natural role. These are practices that have changed. The Bama may be, where are we? Are we in the conclusion?